Hello there, YouTube. It's been a couple of weeks since I made a video, and I think the main reason it's been quite so long is that I've just kind of fell out of the habit. And that's what I thought I'd make a video about, because, well, when you fall out of a habit, it makes sense to try and rekindle that habit. But it's hard to just start something back up again. Now, for me, I have found that I'm not really reading as much as I used to. This last month I've barely picked up a book. And I know that there's reasons for this. One of the primary reasons is, obviously, this month I felt out of it. My dad's death has still not quite resonated for me yet. I still haven't really dealt with that. So I'm still trying to get back into the swing of doing things the way I used to. And reading has just been something that I've stopped doing. It's not the only thing I've stopped doing. I've also kind of stopped playing video games. I've barely switched on my PlayStation in a month. I found that I've reverted back to what I used to do while I was suffering with depression. I'd sleep, I would eat, and I would find one thing that I could focus on, and I would do that ad nauseum. It would either be I would switch on a TV show, usually a sitcom, and I would binge it endlessly. Alternatively, I will switch on YouTube and I'll binge that endlessly. In both cases, it has the same effect. I'm just consuming passive media. And it's not passive media that makes me think. I'm not watching films or TV shows that actually require any thought behind them. Because that, again, would require too much effort, really. So, my intention was to just get back into the habit, actually speak to you guys and start to open that dialogue up again, because then I'll start wanting to make more videos and put myself out there. So this is kind of an update video in a way, but I also wanted to make it more than just me saying, "Hi, I'm back," because that's boring, no one wants to see that. So I had a little think and I thought, what is it about the hobbies that we focus on? And I realised that there's one thing that keeps coming up over and over again for me, and that is FOMO, the fear of missing out. I've noticed that while I've been watching YouTube, while I've been watching BookTube, and while I'm engaging in gaming communities and bookish communities, there's this sense of constant FOMO. This sense that everything that you do has to be a competition, that you have to meet the expectations of your peers. So I need to read these books because everyone's reading these books. I need to play these games because everyone's playing these games. I need to know what I'm talking about. I can't be part of the conversation if I've not read this book and played this game and watched this TV show. And that's a problem, because that makes it so that your life becomes nothing more than the media you consume. And that's not what life's supposed to be. Now, I have no issue with consuming media. I enjoy my media. I would say that my media makes up a large part of my personality in a way. I define myself by the games I like, the books I like, and the TV shows I like in many ways. But if it's the only thing in your life, it's probably quite a boring life. I want to focus on other things as well. So I try to do that. I'm trying to focus a little bit more on my health. I want to be losing more weight. I have been losing weight. Those of you who've been following my the Problems of Being Fat series that I did, I have managed to lose a little over 2 stone since the beginning of August, which is pretty good. I have I've been monitoring what I'm eating, and I'm trying to get into a position where I can start getting more mobile and doing more things. I want to get back into reading on a regular basis. Like I say, I've not picked up a book in almost a month. Not really. Like, I read a couple of short stories and I flicked through a couple of non-fiction books. I've read maybe 1 or 2 pages at a time. I tend to put them down after a few minutes. I would say total, I've read little more than about 50,000 words in the space of a month, which is less than half a novel. Yeah, I could read that in a day comfortably, most times. So this is not a lot of reading for a month. I'd like to get back into my video games, of course, and I want to be able to make more videos. So one of the things that I want to do is I want to focus on what really brings me passion, and I want to not worry about FOMO. So I'm not going to read books because everyone else is reading them, and I'm not going to play games because everyone else is playing them. Instead, I'm going to focus on what I care about, and hopefully you'll care about them as well. And I think that will be fun. And if you don't care, that's okay. I think what makes the likes of BookTube work is that when someone genuinely cares about something, you can see it in the way they talk about it. And it makes you care about that thing as well. When you hear someone like Squirrel's Bookshelf, she talks about Disney. I have no real attachment to Disney, but when she talks about it, you get a deep impression that she really does care about Disney. And that's great. You want to care as well because she cares. And you feel her passion spreading. So that's what I want to do. I want to find my passions and I want to spread them. So hopefully people will be up for that. I'm going to focus on a few passions. Those are going to be, sorry about the cat tail in the middle of the screen. Hey, no one can see with your tail in the way. This is Bavinia. She has a really silly name, but she is 7 years old, and I can't rename her because she knows her name. So it's mean to change someone's name when they already know it. And she knows her name, so her name is Bavinia. It was named because she has black and white patches like a cow, so she's kind of bovine-like, so she's Bavinia. Yeah, it's silly, I know. I didn't name her. But I've got a second cat, by the way. Her name is Enderine, and she's named that because she's all black. And the two were named after Minecraft because of the cows and the Enderman from Minecraft. Yeah, I knew the previous owner. He wasn't able to look after the cats, so I've taken them on. And yeah, they're 7 years old. They both know their names. They come when called. They're very sweet. Yeah, they are also extremely affectionate. And apparently, me talking to the camera has somewhat confused her because now she's wondering who I'm talking to and wants attention. Love, your claws are not cut at all, and you are carving holes in my thigh with your dagger-like talons. Can you get down, love? Right. So, what I want to focus on is threefold. I want to go back to doing some more BookTube videos where I'm talking about books, but I'm going to read books, and I'm just going to read what jumps out at me as interesting and talk about that, and simple as that. I'm not going to try and chase any trends. I'm not interested in any trends there. I may do the odd tag video. I may do that kind of thing. I may talk about something that's popular if it also interests me, but I'm not going to chase any trends, and I'm not really going to do any readathons or read-alongs. I did do my readathon for this year. It started fine for the first month, and then it kind of fell apart. It was an interesting concept. There just wasn't enough people doing it. The problem is, the community, whilst it's a great community, it's a very fun community, it's also a small community. And the problem with a small community of only a couple of dozen people is if half of those people have other things on for a month, everything falls apart. I don't hold it against anyone. People have stuff to do in their lives. So yeah, great people, but we can't really host big events unless we've got 3 times as many people in the community. So when the community grows, which I'm sure it will, then maybe we'll host readathon events in the future when there's more people that can take part, when it'll be more of an event. But it's just not worth doing on our Gilded server at the moment. So I get the impression that, I mean, I'll still, if people send in their lists, I'll still count up the victors and announce who won. But I suspect the vast majority of people have largely put it off to one side, and I don't think there's going to be much in the way of actual competitive spirit there. That's fine. It was just to facilitate reading, and if people are enjoying their reading, then that's great. But the other things I want to focus on is I want to do at least something on video games, and I want to focus on the platformers. Now, they're not something that draws in a lot of viewers. Not many people seem to care about them. I made a couple of videos about them, and they've never really hit it off big. But I want to talk about them because they're something that I really care about, and they're very different from the reading. Now, I could talk about narrative video games. There's plenty of narrative video games out there that would tie in with books. Like, I could talk about things like the Witcher book series and then the Witcher games. There's plenty of things out there like that. But I don't actually care enough about those connections. I do actually play those games. I like big open world games, and I may well make videos about that if I find an interesting take that I want to make. But the games that I have the most passion for are platformers. They always have been. So I want to make more videos on that, and that's what I want to focus on. That's what I want to put my passion in. The last thing that I like to focus on, and I'm going to hopefully start this in the new year. I'm going to try and make a series of videos, and I'm thinking of batch recording so that I can put them up on a regular basis. I want to make a big series of videos on deconstructing Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I know there's plenty of D&D channels out there, but D&D has proven itself to be a very popular part of our community. We have at least 2 D&D campaigns running in my server that I'm aware of, and a 3rd D&D play-by-post game, which just started this week, which is very popular and doing very well. So there's a lot of Dungeons and Dragons players in our server and in our community that I think will really enjoy that. D&D content does terribly on this channel. This channel can get somewhere between 100 and 500 views per video, with the occasional video topping over 1,000. The D&D videos don't break 100 views. They just never do. People don't like to watch them, but the core audience is very, very D&D focused. So I don't know where the audience lies on this, but I'm not here to chase trends. I'm not here to be popular. If I was, I'd be making 3 different channels, because the chances are you're only going to care about one of those things. But as I've said, and I made a video on this, if you're an avid reader, you should be playing D&D, because D&D is about collective storytelling. It's the kind of thing that a bookworm would love. And if you're a gaming fan, if you like video games, you'll probably enjoy the gaming aspect of D&D. There's a lot of tactics and a lot of moments in D&D that are very gamified. It is, after all, a game. So I do recommend giving that a try as well. If you want to see where the bridge lies, D&D is a very good bridge. Now, I would make videos on other tabletop RPGs. I've very much got into GURPS. GURPS is a system I really enjoy. But I don't know it very well. I've only ran a couple of campaigns. I ran one years ago, which I don't fully remember. I ran a couple of short campaigns that lasted only a couple of weeks, and I wasn't overly familiar with the rules, and I'm starting a new campaign at the moment with some friends in person, which I'm really enjoying. I may make videos about GURPS, talking about GURPS. GURPS has less that you can talk about on how you would put builds together and character classes, because it doesn't have those systems. It's way more open-ended because it's a generic role-playing system. Generic sounds bad, but it's actually way more freeing. You can do so much more with it, but because of that, you don't have the let's see if we can make Captain America, or let's see if we can make Darth Vader in GURPS, because you definitely can. But can you make Captain America in D&D? You can, but you've got to twist a few things. It's a challenge to make Captain America in D&D. It's really not a challenge to make him in GURPS. You just make him. It's very easy to make him in GURPS. But character builds and class reviews and things like that are something I'd really love to do. So that's something I'm going to focus on probably in the new year. But I'll be uploading bookish stuff and gaming stuff. I want to go back to my my breakdown of platformers, my guide to 2D platformers, because that's going to be a thing I want to focus on as well in the new year. I've already got a couple of videos there that were halfway done and then I never went back to. So I've got some of the footage there. I just need to finish them. The last one I put up was 8 months ago, and I just never bothered to put up the next video, largely because I just didn't see much of a reaction from it, and there's a lot of editing involved, so it would have taken me a couple of days to edit them. And I never put the time into the editing because I felt there wasn't really anyone waiting for it. So yeah, that's where I want to take the channel. I think FOMO is a big problem. And one of the things that I want to focus on is making sure that I don't fall into a trap. Now, I've spoken about politics on this channel, and I'm probably going to bring up politics a fair bit in the future as well. Simply because political topics happen all the time, and I want to be able to talk freely on them. I've spoken about politics, I've spoken about cancel culture. I did that video about Movie Bob where I just ripped into him. That's by far my most popular video. That's got over 6,000 views at this point. The thing is, I don't want to end up doing something just because it's the popular thing. I could have followed up from the Movie Bob video. I very nearly did. I could have followed up with the Movie Bob video by making other videos ripping apart other people who are similar. Like, I could have made a Jim Sterling video, and I could have made a Spoony One video. Those are two videos I considered making, where I went into those personalities and how they fell from grace as well, because Movie Bob is not the only one who started out as a pretty good person within the gaming industry, within the gaming review industry, and then just crashed and burnt. Jim Sterling's done the same thing. Spoony One did it even more dramatically. I could have made videos on them, and I considered doing it. I really did. I planned out the videos. I was like, I could make these, and they'll probably do quite well because the Movie Bob video did quite well. The thing is, then I'm making myself into the guy who rips apart channels that have failed, which feels a bit hypocritical when your own channel is barely off the ground. And also, it's just a bit mean-spirited. I might still make those videos just as a statement on those channels, because those are channels I watched, those are people that I followed, and it's interesting to see how they've changed. I may still make those videos. I don't want to make that a focus of the channel. One thing I've noticed, and it's great that he's getting some success, is Bald Book Geek. Recently has been getting a lot of views, like thousands and thousands of views. His subscriber base has tripled overnight, as it were. Well, not quite overnight, but close. But it's almost all Rings of Power stuff. And I worry that he's going to burn out. I look at his channel and it's all Lord of the Rings and Rings of Power stuff. And that's because that's what shot to success. And now he's going to end up in a situation where he can make, he is a passionate Lord of the Rings fan, so he's not faking this. This is a passion of his. But he's going to make Rings of Power videos where he's ripping into Rings of Power and the terrible show that is. and talking about Lord of the Rings and the films and the books and describing what he loves from that franchise. And that's great. But then he's going to want to move on. He's going to want to do something else, because you can only talk about one book for so long. And Lord of the Rings is one. It's one very long book, but it's one long book. You can only talk about one book for so long. So what happens when you want to talk about something else, and then all the Lord of the Rings fans don't watch it? And this is a problem with YouTube. YouTube has algorithms that decide how you get. That was the cat trying to jump up on the bookcase. YouTube has algorithms that decide how your videos get promoted. And one of the worst things about the YouTube algorithms, and this is something that is fairly well known but isn't obviously publicised, is that subscribers are a bad thing. You do not want subscribers, because subscribers damage your channel. You need to have a base level of subscribers. You need to have a minimum of 1,000 to use the community tab, and you need to have a minimum of 1,000. I think you need to have a minimum of 1,200 to start monetization. I'm not sure, something like that. Might just be 1,000 for both. I've not checked. Now that's fine. Once you've hit that 1,000 threshold, you can access those features. But anything above that, you don't need. If you have 50,000 subscribers and someone else has 5,000 subscribers, but your videos do the same number of views, the person with 5,000 is going to get more promotion, and their videos are going to keep showing up in recommended feeds. The person with 50,000 subs, they won't. And the reason is simple. YouTube doesn't care how many subscribers you've got. It cares what percentage of your subscribers watch your videos. Which means that my channel gets completely screwed. I have 1,000 subscribers that don't watch my videos. A good 800 or so of them are subscribers that subscribed years ago. Back when I was making videos on atheism and skepticism. Back before I did anything BookTube related. Well, now, I've been doing BookTube for 2 years. So this was about 5 years ago. Maybe longer. And I did just vlog stuff to the camera like this. Those people don't watch YouTube anymore. Their accounts are dead. They barely log on. As far as I know, there is no one from that original subscriber list that still watches my channel. If you are one of the original subscribers who watched me back when I was in my parents' house, when I was talking about the atheist community, then let me know. Post something in the comments. Let me know that you were one of the original subscribers, because I don't think any of those still watch. I don't think any of them are even active, and that's fine. That's understandable. I'm subscribed to hundreds of channels. I don't watch most of them. I'm subscribed to old YouTube Let's Play channels that I don't watch, where I used to watch gameplay footage of various different games from them. I've not watched those in years. I'm subscribed to old skeptic channels and atheism channels that I used to watch back when I was talking about religion online. And yeah, I don't really watch them anymore. I don't think I watched an Aaron Ra video in about 5 years. I'm still subscribed to his channel. Same with Thunderfoot. I don't think I've watched anything from him in a massive amount of time, but I'm still subscribed to the channel. And that hurts channels. The more subscribers you have, the worse it gets for you. Because the way that the YouTube algorithm works is it sends out your video to a selection of your subscribers. And if they don't click on it, it doesn't send it to the rest of them. And then you end up with really bad impressions. They just don't bother to put it into the recommended feed. Now, if they go into the subscriber tab, it will be there. But no one uses the subscriber tab anymore. It's something like 70% of YouTube's user base just use the recommended feed. I know I use the recommended feed for most things. I have been going back into the subscriber tab because the recommended feed will often pick up on a trend where I've watched, say, 4 or 5 similar videos, and then it'll flood my recommended feed with just those kinds of videos. So if I watch 4 or 5 gaming videos, it'll just be gaming videos. nothing but gaming videos. I watched a couple of like vloggy videos by Evan Edinger, and my recommended was just UK versus US reaction videos and nothing else. Like, no booktube videos, no gaming videos, nothing except that kind of stuff. The search is also terrible on YouTube. I've noticed that you can search for something and you'll get a search result, something that's completely unrelated from your recommended feed. A search result, something completely unrelated from your recommended feed. So it's weird. They've decided to screw up the YouTube search so that now only about half of the stuff that actually comes from the search engine is results from what you searched for. It's really hard to actually search on YouTube now and get anything useful. So that's a problem. I'm not sure how we'd change that, how we'd make that any better. But yeah, that's how I've been feeling when it comes to YouTube and videos and various other hobbies. I want to get back into making more regular videos, but I want to focus, and I want to make sure that what I'm doing is a reflection of me. So I'm trying not to make this FOMO. I'm trying not to make this an attempt to game the algorithm or anything like that. I don't want to focus on one tiny little thing. Like I say, Board Bookie's going to suffer if he wants to move outside of making anything that's not Lord of the Rings related, because he started with a couple of thousand subscribers, less than 2,000 subscribers. He's now close on 7,000. But almost all of those have subscribed since he started making Rings of Power critique videos, which means that he now has between 4,000 and 5,000 Lord of the Rings fans. They outnumber the rest of his subscribers by more than twofold. So when he makes a video that isn't Lord of the Rings based, and 5,000 of his 7,000 subscribers don't watch it, it's going to tank. And that's going to make it really hard for him to do anything else, because when that video tanks, the next video will get recommended less, and then the next will get recommended less. And it's a vicious feedback loop. Your video was watched by fewer people, so we recommended it less. So it got watched by fewer people, so it got recommended less, so it got watched by fewer people. So then the next video comes out, we're going to recommend it to fewer people because your channel's getting fewer views, so it gets watched by less people, so it gets recommended less. And it just keeps going around and around and around. And that's the problem of the YouTube algorithm at the moment, is it death spirals channels. And it death spirals them because they got successful once on something specific. Which is weird. Anyway, this was a bit of a rambly video, but that's what I wanted to say. Normally I wouldn't put something like this up, but I want to break the cycle of there not being anything online. I want to force myself to put something up, because once I rip the plaster off, then I'm posting again, and I'll be happy to start posting beyond this. So I want to post more and more. So that's the idea. It's a silly little psychological trick, but it makes me want to post more. So it's been fun actually sitting in front of the camera. You got to meet one of my cats. The other one is sitting in the bed over there. But I'll try not to leave the channel unattended quite so long. And I look forward to seeing what you guys want, what you guys are interested in, what you guys feel more intrigued by. Because I want to do so many different things with this channel, but I keep finding that getting going is the hardest part. But enough of that. I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. It's been good getting back. I'll see you then. Bye.